How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting. Welcome back to Chaoschild, where we're going to investigate. We've kind of sunk our teeth into this again, despite Kurusu's objections. And as we gone over the information and shared it with Itou, he's kind of, I think, pegged who the girl is. I guess we know through her cutscene with the interrogation with the police that she's a student at the school. It seems like he might have recognized her, so we're going to go meet her, which should be very, very interesting. First things first, he says here that I think she's a humanities student, which is odd. I didn't think high school students had tracks like they were in college already. I don't know if that's actually a thing, or if that's more of a kind of an elective system, perhaps, where maybe it's not like an actual like track, but more of an exploration. Because I remember we did have elective classes where we could explore, you know, different options and opportunities. But just kind of weird that the way they're phrasing here. Or this could be the I don't know. Sometimes translations of games like this, you know, to try and be a little dodgy with you know, some content age restrictions, especially how harsh they are with visual novels as opposed to other forms of media. Even though that these guys are clearly like in high school, they might be trying to sell the idea like, oh, they're all over 18, they're all in college, you know, so we'll have the language reflect that. I don't know, not sure how that all pans out, but anyway, we're gonna be going there. We're gonna see that, and maybe if we can actually talk to the girl and she'll actually talk to us, we could actually get some interesting information. We know that she somehow has a connection with Momose, who is, I'm guessing, working with or employs at least some of the people from the first game. That's my guess, because she talks about how her kids might be involved in stuff like this. So that's giving me more hope that we're going to see some of the characters from Chaos Head in this game, which would be fun. I do think it would be good if they are minor roles or maybe background characters rather than forefront characters, but I would like to at least see one or two of them before the end of this. I'd really like to see what they're up to these days. So yeah, that should be very fun. All right, other than that, hello again. It's good to see you. Also, hello to the new backdrop. Just had a lot of life changes going on, including just rearranging my house a little bit, and decided to pick a new location to kind of record from. I think this will be better, especially because I'm planning to upgrade my setup a bit. So if you have any suggestions, I'm planning to get some kind of shelving, or maybe at least some pictures to post up on the wall behind me. I also plan to get a sit-stand desk, because I think it'd be fun to record standing, at least sometimes, probably most of the times, because then I feel like it'd be more animated. I think I'd be a lot more expressive. I think I'll have a lot more fun. It'll be interesting. So yeah, we'll kind of move along with that and see how that plays out. And then yeah, just good stuff all around in my life going. So because I got a new job, I won't have to work nights anymore. So that could affect the broadcast schedule a little bit. I will play it by ear and kind of see how that goes, but just keep that in mind that until I like nailed in exactly like the shape that my life is going to take in the next few months, that could be a little unstable, just because, you know, I got to figure out how to make sure that I have time to record and when to do so. So yeah, we'll get around to it when we get around to it. Anyway, thank you so much. Let's jump right in. All right, probably she's a humanities student. Itou was moving at a quick pace. His expression was serious, but he was having trouble hiding his excitement.
そんなことあるのか?
I mean, why wouldn't it be? You guys are from this school. You were at the murder crime scene.
んだよ、マジだって。
We were following Itou down the hallway quickly. After seeing the video from the room at the Love Hotel, he'd said,
こいつ、知ってるぞ。
Dang. He'd said that he knew the girl who'd been in the room with us. That couldn't be true. Sedeka and I had insisted he was mistaken, but Itou wouldn't listen.
部会で見かけた気がするんだよ。
I guess Takuru probably hasn't gone to that, even if he was right. The club leaders meeting was where all the leaders of the school clubs and teams got together. If she was there, did that mean she was the leader in some club? I asked Itou, but he just smirked a little.
わかんねえぞ。うちみたいに部長が大勢の人の前で喋るのが苦手で、副部長が部会の議長だから。
Yeah, so naturally, we probably would have good information, Takuru.
ただの部員である俺が出ているところもあるんだからな。
Huh.
苦手じゃない。ただ、なんていうか。
Yeah, I didn't like it. It made me nervous. Being in front of all those people, I mean. And everybody knows the meetings never actually lead to anything productive. At least in high school, yeah. At least in my high school, yeah. I was definitely involved in that kind of stuff, though. I wasn't as a president of a club, but I would go because I was elected as a representative of my homeroom class. So I'd go to the student council. I was technically part of the student council, but more of the general body, not the actual, like, elected, like, primary positions, the people who actually made decisions. Mostly I would just be there as a representative. If you made a movie out of one like them, no one would go see it.
なんていうか、なんだよ。
Uh-huh.
いいだろ別に。というかどこに行くつもりなんだよ。
ここだ。
Alright, let's see. How much you want to bet, despite how, like, terrifying she looked in the video and at the time, and how cold she seemed in the interrogation room, I bet she has a whole other mask that she wears to school, where she's gonna be this, like, cute, bubbly girl who could never be involved in anything horrific. Itou suddenly stopped. It was the student council room on the 6th floor of the annex building.
なんで？
部活紹介とかの書類が写真付きで置いてあるんだよ。校内中探すよりいいだろ。
That's fair, but won't, Nono be here? Wait a second. I pulled Itou away from the door.
バカ！もしクルスがいたらどうするんだよ。
Itou gave me a little moan.
それはお前がなんとかごまかせよ。
Oh, sure.
だからそれができるくらいだったら最初から。
入ります。
Oh my gosh. Onoa. Onoa, ignoring us completely, walked right into the room. Dang, now what? We just have to pray she's not in there. Holy crap. She's in here. Our eyes meet and I suddenly forgot how to breathe. Okay. So, I don't know if she's going to be in the state of mind to remember us because I think she's under the influence of whatever, like, that mojo is that make people go mad. So, I don't know if we'll remember her. Also, very small, very much a frown. Holy cow. Why? Her eyes were red there. That's weird. Is that supposed to be because they're, like, of the blood? Or is that the iris has also changed color? It was that girl. Alright. This is another one of those examples where, like, it makes a lot more sense if we have a negative delusion here. But I want to roll with the positive one. What is she doing here?
Takuru?
Oh my gosh.
あなたたちもどうしたの全員で。
Oh, this is a very bad situation. How do we do this now?
あ、いや。
Uh-oh. The woman, no, the girl, stared at us suspiciously. And then, for the first time, she realized I couldn't take my eyes off her.
何ほうけてるのあなたたち。
Oh, did we not? Oh yeah, Kurusu didn't have a chance to see the footage. She would have no idea.
は？
The words wouldn't come out. What do I say? Why is she here? Why is she acting so normal? I don't know. She looks grumpy. Oh boy. What am I signing up for now?
はじめまして。私、クルスノノの妹です。
Okay. First of all, that's not right. But see, look at it. She looks way, like she looks like it's weird how much of an expression and pose change makes her go from like a kind of scary girl to like a very cute girl. The girl suddenly smiled and bowed.
妹？
嘘だ。クルスに妹がいるなんて話聞いたことが。
渋谷地震の時に生き別れになっていたの。私自身、妹はもう死んじゃったんだって諦めていたんだけど。
Okay, this is obviously a delusion.
まさか、こうして再会できるなんて。本当に奇跡ってあるのね。
Oh, it's very sappy. Oh no. There were tears in Kurusu's eyes. Then this girl really was her little sister. I was having trouble believing it as the girl walked right up to me.
あなたが宮代拓さんですか？
Okay. What is happening here? God, I feel really uncomfortable for some reason. Like,
そうだけど。
really. Like, it makes my, like, skin crawl for some reason. I don't know why. Like, this is obviously a delusion. I know that. And even if it's not a delusion, this is like a somewhat kind of, oh, it's kind of sweet and cutesy, right? But for some reason, like, I feel horrifically uncomfortable, and I can't put my finger on it. How does she know my name?
じゃあ、私にとってはお兄ちゃんですね。
Oh boy.
なんだと？
そうなの？
Oh gosh.
だって、タクルさんはお姉ちゃんにとって弟同然なんでしょ？
What the heck? That doesn't make any sense at all. Actually, it kind of does, but not really. Oh boy. Okay. I looked to Kurusu for help.
タクル、仲良くしてあげて。
Uh-huh.
よろしくお願いします、お兄ちゃん。
Oh my gosh, that was the most like stereotypical Oni-chan I've ever heard. And all of a sudden I had a little sister. Things around here were about to get a lot more complicated. And pan to the rom-com intro. Nope. No way. Not a chance in hell. There's no way this girl's Kurusu's little sister. Not that I had any idea what she was doing here.
のんちゃん、知り合いなの？
She Seneca motioned toward the girl.
Oh?
Oh, there's the smile.
ええ、後輩。2年生で文芸部部長の有村ひなえさん。
Arimura Hinai. Hinai-san. She's a second year who leads the literature club. Oh, fetch me. Actually, she and I probably get along real good. I was in the literature club and I was in the writers club in high school.
どうもです。
I'm still getting those like creepy crawlies. Girl bowed to us.
クルス先輩のお友達ですか？
Okay, this almost is going like the same way, except instead of siblings, it's like, are they friends?
ええ。そっちが新聞部部員で3年の伊藤真二くん。同じく部員で2年の尾上セリカ。
So Ito's a third year and Ono is a second year.
で、それが部長で3年の宮代拓。身の程を知らない私の愚弟。
Oh my gosh. That tone shift was amazing. Kurusu's eyes narrowed as she glared at me.
弟さんですか？でも名字が。養護施設のね。
Mm-hmm.
へえ、血がつながってない兄弟。なんかいやらしいですね。
Oh my gosh. What am I supposed to make about you? What you're like what creature are you?
小説とかと一緒にしないでちょうだい。
But still, doesn't it seem kind of naughty? She asked with a wink. What? Why? What are you doing here? Also, yeah, like the way she behaved in a police station is so different. It's maybe that's part of it. Like the delusion was super like taken to like a high level, which maybe that's why it made me feel uncomfortable. But this is still feeling uncomfortable too. I was kind of right. Like she's gonna be this bubbly, happy girl, but for some reason that's almost more horrifying. Dang. Like it makes me feel weird. I wiped my sweaty hands on my pants and tried to ignore my pounding heart.
何してるんですか？いや、
Dang it. Get the words out.
タクル？
Seneca seemed to understand what I was trying to say and finished my sentence for me.
有村さんは何しにここに来たんですか？え？クルス先輩に文化祭のことで話があったんだよ。てか同学年なんだから敬語いらないよ。
I don't think her voice sounds familiar. For some reason, it kind of does, but it also doesn't.
うん。
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this either, Onoa.
まあいっか。じゃあ私はこれで。クルス先輩、すいませんでした。
I think even if we don't tell, we don't want to tell Kurusu we're back on the case, right? That's clearly off the table. But At this point, we should be able to tell her, like, hey, that girl was at the crime scene, and she was acting really weird. Kurusu waved her hand and told her not to worry.
事情があるなら仕方ないでしょう。文芸部は文化祭に参加できないと話は通しておくから。でも、どうしても事情は言えないのね。痛いけな乙女の秘密ということで、何卒。
Okay.
了解。でも、来年はフォローできないからね。はい、ありがとうございました。
The girl put her bag on her shoulder, bowed to us, and then went to leave. Wait, I still haven't asked you about the things I need to. Her name, it was...
有村さん
Wow, this guy. My voice was loud enough to make her jump a little.
びっくりした。元気ですね。
ごめんなさい。
Okay, whoever does the voice for Takuru, phenomenal. Like, he can sound so like, oh ho ho, like I'm so cool or I'm so awesome in his like private life, but then he gets these moments where he's talking in front of people he doesn't know or approaching people in crowds, and like the utter just dissolving of his like gumption, his motivation and his presence is just so well communicated through the voice line delivery.
いえ、別にいいんですけど、何です？
大声すいませんでした。いや、じゃなくて、ですね。
Okay, dude, here's the thing. Yeah, you want to get information from her, but if you aren't ready and don't even know what question to ask her, you're going to just make this stupid. Like, I understand he wants to jump at this, but if he can't figure out already what he would ask her, but if he ever had the chance to meet her, and in fact, I think it's a little odd. I guess maybe I'm different, but if I were moving in if I were physically walking in a direction where I might be able to have contact with the girl from that crime scene, maybe it's just me, but I'd already be thinking, hey, if I were to meet up with her, here's at least a basic question I would want to ask. It's like, hey, do you remember where you were at this day at this time, which is when the whole thing happened? She probably won't have an answer for you. And you'd be like, I think I saw you. I wanted to make sure you were okay. Can we talk about it sometime? And try and set up an appointment. Now, a grin, if she means ill will, that could be bad, but you could try and meet up at a public place, or at the very least gauge her reaction when she rejects you, because I doubt she would be willing to. Still, at the very least, you should have some type of idea, just in case you did happen to run into her. Now, it was a surprise. I didn't think she was going to be in this room specifically, but I think it's odd that he's trying to ask her a question that he doesn't even know he wants to ask. It's not going to go well. My face was turning red from nervousness. Dang it, this always happens when I talk to someone for the first time. What should I ask? Oh gosh. Another delusion?
そのホテルで
Okay. He actually is getting some of the words out. That's impressive. Alright, I haven't done it yet. This is the first time I'm feeling an urge to I want to stay in the moment and not do a delusion. I think I'm going to skip a delusion this time because I want to see how it plays out. Again, people have made it pretty clear that the delusions do not necessarily affect things. But I do kind of want to see just what it's like when you stay in the moment. And I feel like this is just a good time to try it out.
ホテル？
何してたんですか？あのホテルで。
A moment. Felt like her body moved for just a moment.
有村さん？
I could see Kurusu frown from the corner of my eye. Arimura was still looking at me. Her expression hadn't changed, but for some reason it felt like she was looking me over. An awkward silence ensued as we waited for her to answer.
あなただったんですか？部屋に入ったっていううちの生徒は。
Her tone was perfectly normal. There was no surprise or anger, just flat, level tone. This is more like the real her, I think. This is more like how she was in the police station. Just nod. But somehow that struck me far more frightening. Even so, I nodded.
言葉に出してもらってもいいですか？部屋に入ったのはあなたですか？
What?
そうだよ。
Huh. Why would she need him to say it out loud? Alright. If she is somehow coordinating or working with maybe delusion people. Not necessarily like our Takumi and, you know, the rest of that team. Maybe she wants it said out loud for a specific reason. Maybe there's somebody who's listening. Maybe she has a recorder on her. Maybe there's someone using delusions to listen in. It also could remind me of, you know, whose eyes are those eyes, that type of thing. Like a remote viewing of some kind. But maybe it can't be as simple as like seeing what's going on. Maybe it's an ability that someone has that they can hear things from a great distance. I don't know. Let's see.
そうですか。
I couldn't tell if she cared or not.
それで、ホテルで何を？
部屋のドアが勝手に開いて、それで入れたそうですね。それは本当ですか？
How did you hear that? That's not what... We never told anybody that, did we?
え？
The door opened on its own. She knew about that. I nodded.
言葉に出してもらってもいいですか？
I don't like this. I don't like red flags should be going up like crazy if she knows information that nobody else believed and he probably hasn't told people. Huh?
本当だよ。勝手に内側から。
Warning, warning.
そうですか。
Once again, she seemed to be looking me over. What was going on here?
有村さん？何かあなた。じゃあ、失礼します。
Arimura, ignoring Kurusu's question, went to leave.
ちょっとですから何を？
ああ、敬語いらないですよ。それに呼び捨てでいいです。後輩じゃないですか。それから。
So the mask is back on, huh? Oh.
あなた、殺されますよ。宮代拓先輩。
Oh, cool. Great. I'm so happy about this. You're terrifying. Did she actually say that? Those were her last words before she left the room.
Huh?
She didn't seem all surprised that I'd questioned her, but I froze solid. So, did anyone else hear that? Because I feel like her openly threatening his life, or at least saying he was going to die, which sounds like a threat, should be taken, seriously. Oh, also, I just had a thought. Could she be the news leaker girl? Remember they talked about how it seemed like she was a student, and she was in that room. Maybe she was just trying to get a scoop. But there's definitely something weird about her, that's for sure. Okay, club president. Where does the truth lie? Seeking that which is real. Place and castle. Who put this on Hachiko? Lol. Okay. Creepy AF. That's the Sumo sticker, isn't it? It actually looks kind of cute. Congrats on 500 retweets. Okay. What the heck is that thing? Well, who put this on Hachiko? Sumo woofer. Okay. Congrats on 1,000 retweets. Is that just like a one of those bots? Give me a break. I loved Hachiko, but I don't care. Who put this on Hachiko? Lol. What's up with this thing? Another link. Cute, huh? This is hilarious. RT Cat Ibisu, who put on Hachiko? October 2nd, 2015, Friday. 2015, man. In one part of my brain, that doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But another part of my brain, that was a really long time ago. At the same time. Donganzaka, Shibuya. The sky had been overcast all day, and now it had finally begun to rain. They were back to Investigator, right? Some of the news media that had been swarming around the Love Hotel decided it was a good time to go home. Others just took refuge in the vans and vans frowning. Meanwhile, Shinjo's mind raced as quickly as the men trying to flee the storm.
どういうことなんだ?
It all started right after midnight. Arimaru Hinaya the Hekiko girl, had refused to give even her name until the relayed Momose's message to her, but as soon as she heard it, her attitude completely changed. His only choice now was to continue to do everything Momose's kid told him to do. Okay. The first thing she'd said was that there was almost no chance Arimura was the killer, and that it was safe to let her go. The second thing she'd said was that it would be smarter to let her go and see what she did. Third thing she'd said was that even if he did get some answers out of her, he wouldn't be able to make sense of them. Shinjo had used every bit of his authority to get her released. He'd been forced to suck up to some people he really didn't like, and in the end, she'd be monitored and questioned by the police daily. Since they hadn't known if she had anything to do with Katika's death, they'd used her assault on the police officer to bring her in. Either way, last evening marked 48 hours since her arrest, and they had decided whether to let her go or seek a warrant for detention. They hadn't found any physical evidence connecting her to Katika's murder, and Arimura herself said,
何も覚えていません.
Right, that's all she'd said. That's all she'd said, in fact. Provisional release at this point felt a bit of a stretch of his authority, but it was a sensible decision. If anything, here wasn't sensible. It was the fact that he was doing everything Momose's acquaintance asked of him. He didn't have a plan to follow. This is the first time it had happened, he thought. He only managed to be successful at his age around what Momose called hardheads in Section 1 because he knew how to be flexible. The reason that many police officers could be so stubborn and hard-headed was because most of the time that was how you solved the case. Shinjo understood that the rules they clung to so fiercely, both written and unwritten, were the product of valuable experience. But he also understood that the unorthodox methods his senior detective friend had taught him were a weapon in their own right. Even if the higher-ups didn't like him using them, they'd brought him success. One good example was his time in the profilers that told him that the person behind the string of assaults was a man in his 20s who'd never left his house. He'd found out that the culprit was actually a runaway girl in her late teens who lived in a net cafe. He'd matched the internet logs of Section 1 had gathered with the data held by the CSD, a group that was on notoriously bad terms with Section 1. CSD, what is that? Short for Community Safety Division. The division of Japan's National Police Agency is responsible for juvenile delinquency, particularly drug-related crimes, and cybercrimes such as unauthorized computer access, also known as hacking. Gotcha. In the end, he'd cracked the case by logging onto an online game, tracking down several of its players, including the girl behind the attacks. Shinjo was, if nothing else, confident that he was capable of not letting preconceptions keep him from making the best choice. But this time, not only did he not know what was the best choice, he didn't even know if the choices he was making were good or bad.
これじゃあ、百瀬さんの言った通りじゃないか。
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's had prior experience, and she's also a secret agent. If he couldn't change things fast, he might end up being taken off the case. He looked at his watch and realized something. The man he was waiting for wasn't here. It cost him quite a bit of permission to show him the crime scene, and he was over 30 minutes late.
百瀬さんが言うには、特徴のあるやつだからすぐにわかるって話だったが。
Huh. He didn't know what he actually looked like, but there's no way an officer standing guard outside could miss him.
ちょっと待ちなさい！こら！
He heard a loud voice from the hallway. Shinjo decided that before he let him get into the scene, he'd give him a lecture about his tardiness. He stopped, surprised.
女？
Wait. That can't be Senna, can it? Like, she's got the long hair, but it looks like it's like it would be a different color. Lab coat, though. It really looks like the uniform. Is that... He didn't expect what he saw. He'd convinced himself that anyone weird enough to want to see a crime scene had to be a guy. Sexist. But he looked like she'd be, but she looked like she'd be very pretty with makeup on. What does that mean? Even if she wore none now, a frown was plastered on her face and her long hair was half-heartedly tied behind her back. She was also wearing a white lab coat, but under her was...
制服それに、あれは確
Yeah, I
か。
think it's like from the first game, right? The uniform was for... No, Tekiko Academy. It's the same one. The same school Arimura and the two kids who'd snuck into the crime scene attended. Okay, so this can't be her. That can't be her then. This is not be just another student. That's really weird though that she's here. Shinjo motioned to the officer to let her pass and remembered the last name he'd been given by Momose.
君が、久野里さんかな。
Kunosato. Okay, that's different, right?
Yeah. I leave it to you all. So, you don't need my confirmation.
Okay, why are you speaking English?
は
There's no time to waste, as you know. Here. Yeah.
Oh, it's not a weird thing where she's speaking out loud. I wonder if, again, like, is this like a remote observer type situation?
Well, I gotta nurse this damn cop. Okay. Later, Chris.
Whoa, Kurusu. Whoa, what? No, that's like Steins Gate Kurusu spelling. What the fetch is happening? What? And she's speaking English. That could actually be Steins Gate Kurusu, couldn't it? That's technically within the realm of possibility, because Kurusu definitely would speak English. What the fetch is happening? What is happening? Who are you? That last name, I should know that last name, shouldn't I? Like, it's gonna be one of those things where people are gonna be like, "You're such an idiot." Is that because, like, what if that was actually Senna's last name, and this is like, I don't know, her child? I don't know. Actually, it wouldn't be possible. Like, it's only been 6 years. No, it can't be her. But it, like, no, I'm trying to grasp at straws here. I'm just losing my mind. Forget everything I've been saying. She then hung up the phone and glared at Shinjo. She showed no sign of apologizing for her lateness or gawking at the scene of a murder. This is her. It has to be her. When I saw how arrogantly she was behaving, he knew immediately this had to be the Kunosato person that Momose had told him about. He felt a little overwhelmed by her, but tried to make his voice as strong as he could. She's, I'm pretty sure, a student. Or I guess maybe she could be a teacher. That could be the other angle, right? She could still be wearing the uniform because she could be a teacher. Although teachers usually don't wear school uniforms.
久野里さんかな。百瀬さんのことだからどんな人が来ても構わないつもりでいたんだが、若い女の子を入れるわけには。
こんな非常識が蔓延している現場で常識的なことを言うな。それが邪魔だと言われなかったか？
She's right.
ちょ。
She ignored Shinjo's words and walked right past him. She stepped right on top of the number plates the forensics had put on the ground to identify the locations of evidence. She then looked at the blinds placed in the window and stopped the media from looking inside. To stop the media from looking inside and stopped. Shinjo felt himself getting annoyed at her attitude, particularly when she just said about him in English.
こちらが間抜けな警官だろうが、指示には従ってもらう。今すぐに。
世間の連中は死体はみんな死んでると思ってる。
But that's usually right.
は？
英語を聞き取れる耳は持っていても、ビンチャーは見てないのか？
Vitscher. What? Picture David Vitscher, an American movie director. The line Kurosato said is from a psychological suspense movie 8. David. I'm trying to think if that could be related to. I'm not a big movie person though, so. And what was the line? People think that every corpse is dead. I have no idea what that. I have no idea what that's a reference to. I would welcome a insight into that. Like, what movie and director is that supposed to be a reference of? She put her hand up to the blind that she'd been looking at.
何してんだ。
あんたらは現場は事件が起きた空間だけだと思ってるのかって言ってるんだ。
She kept her eyes on the exposed window. She's gonna see the sticker, right? As she tossed him a Pokecon she'd fished out of her pocket. Shinjo grabbed it without thinking and looked down at it. Oh, yeah. That's right. Somebody took the picture from this angle, which means somebody was outside. Oh, a video from this angle. That the way it closes though, that looks like it's like somebody's like looking, like the sticker, right? Or like a person. Like, why would you have a camera recording of a person's point of view? That's crazy. He was stunned. It was footage from the room he was in right now. That was probably Kakita dead and Arimura Hine. Wait, was she there? I didn't see her.
なんだこれは。
ついさっきウェブに貼られた動画だ。
Mio. Her name's Mio. Her answer made Shinjo feel pissed off at everything, including himself. Why didn't he notice? Why did he have to be shown this by a girl he just met?
窓の外からか。
He grabbed onto the window frame, looking for the spot where the video had been recorded from. But all he saw was the external wall of the building slick with rain. There was only some kind of strange, creepy sticker there. Yeah. Those stickers are definitely something.
What?
Shinjo yelled out into the hallway. Like, I would say, so those stickers, maybe they are a kind of shortcut version of the Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes, right? Because think about that. Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes basically let Takumi, like the original Takumi, perceive basically anywhere he wanted to be. What if somebody had developed or was able to work out a similar thing, but he had needed to use a kind of medium to get access, or she needed a medium to get access? And so those stickers are there, which is why the stickers are being spread everywhere, because they are a way of someone to keep an eye on stuff. It's basically a delusion form of all the cameras that were being set up by the Peace Company or whatever they're called. But why would it blink like that? And how could you then capture that as a video recording? The officer outside heard the tone of his voice and rushed inside. Shinjo pointed at the window and said,
至急鑑識を呼んで隣の建物の入り口を封鎖しろ。それからこの映像の出所を。
映像はともかく建物からはおそらく何も出ないぞ。外壁にカメラなどを取り付けた形跡はなかった。
え？
入り口にあった監視カメラの映像をコピーしてうちで洗っているが、まあ出ないだろう。
Frieza's team. Who's the Frieza's team?
出てもらっちゃ困るんだよ。
You're cute. She's interesting. Like she comes across really crazy harsh, but she's kind of cute. You must have been enjoying this because Kunosato's frown twisted into a mischievous bully's expression. Again, he didn't understand. He didn't have time for this. He ignored her and ordered his men to seal the building, call forensics, and track down where that video was filmed. It would be good to try and recreate so you knew exactly where the point of view of that whatever like captured that video was. That could still tell you a lot. With that finished, he turned back to her.
それを調べていて遅れたのか。
現場保全を優先しろ。この動画は貼られた直後にアットちゃんに飛び火した。貼られてから40分強経過している。
Oh wow, that was fast.
すでに5000人以上がこの動画にアクセスしてるんだ。その中に事件にへばりついている下のマスコミの関係者がいないと思うか？
Yeah, it's true.
待て、勝手に。
Oh, it's that guy again.
ニコニアニュースの渡部です。この動画についてコメントを。
Watabe, yeah, that's stupid. I don't like this Watabe. By the way, this cop in the hallway is gonna be the worst like protection cop ever. Any person who's attempted to like get past his line of defense has absolutely succeeded. All he's done is shout, "Wait, you can't!"
かいよみテレビです。お聞きしたいことが。
出ていけ、取るな。
He could hear yelling coming from the hallway.
くそ、またあのネット記者か。
Shinjo ran out into the hallway infuriated.
捜査一課の方ですか？動画をご覧に。許可なく入らないでください。コメントすることはありません。
押すんじゃない。
ご覧になったんですか？なっていないんですか？コメントすることはありません。
Kunosato was looking outside the window as she listened to the commotion in the hallway. She struck her hand at her pockets, stared at the sticker on the opposite wall the way the person on the top of the building stares down at tiny people on the street below.
なあ。気分はどうだ？
How does it feel? The sticker pictured two ugly, overlapping faces. The rain made it look like they were crying.
目撃者がいるとすれば、お前だけだろ。
Right. Kunosato smirked like a fighter facing down a worthy opponent. October 2nd, 2015, Friday. Yeah, so, like, somebody uses those pictures as, like, a pseudo delusion, and they absolutely are doing a kind of, like, knockoff version of Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes? Or maybe the entire time in the first game, that was the motivator for Whose Eyes Are Those Eyes, because those pictures started appearing years before the earthquake. So maybe the entire time that was the original Takumi's method, it just wasn't ever clearly communicated. I wonder if that were the case, though. Like, could you go back in the first game and see those stickers all over the place? That'd be an insane retcon. Time passed. It was now almost midnight. Under a bridge in Shibuya. She walked with her head down so that others couldn't see her strange face. This is that lady, right? She was dragging her legs so her body tilted a little. She didn't have an umbrella. The rain that fallen that evening made her long bangs cling to her forehead. Water dripped off of them. The eerie eyes that poked out from between her locks of hair looked like those of an animal hunting its prey. No one was moving but her. Normally there'd be people here at this hour, but the town had left her alone, as if it had sensed something. She disappeared into an alley without anyone else noticing her. Who is that lady? It was several minutes later when they appeared there. What the fetch is happening? She's like tiny, and he looks like he's about to literally just keel over and die. Girl less than 10 years old and an older woman well over 70. The old woman might have been blind because she carried a stick in her hand on the girl and had her hand on the girl's shoulder. The little girl was carrying something far too big for her tiny frame. Neither of them were carrying umbrellas, and both were soaking wet. They walked at a slow pace. Perhaps they knew the path well, or perhaps they simply didn't care because they paid no attention to anything around them. And then, for the first time, the little girl saw something and stopped. The old woman stopped as well, and the only sound in the alley was the sound of rain. I immediately had this odd thought here, where we saw the original Takumi, like, he had a disease where he aged really quickly, but the disease was more related to his delusion powers, most likely. Could this be one of the original characters? And they continued pushing their delusional powers, and now they've aged incredibly quickly. That would be an interesting change of pace as well. Bit of a surprise, too. Did I read that line? The old woman stopped as well. The sound of the rain was the sound of rain. Yeah. The girl stood there for a full minute. Eventually, she turned her head and led the older woman away. And that was all that was left there was the rain. Oh my gosh. And then the things on the wall. Why are there so many of them? And why are they there now? Like, they weren't there before, right?
が発見された事件で、その現場を映したと思われる映像がインターネット上に出回っており。
There's so many questions. I guess that's the other thing. Is like, this is very similar to Chaos Head in that regard, where there's just like way more questions than answers. But this game is coming across a lot better than that. But still, like, I get the feeling that just like the first game, I'm gonna basically not get answers, at least not satisfying ones.
問題の映像は
先日渋谷のラブホテルで自殺していた男性の遺体を映しており。
Yeah, sure. So what is like? So are we not gonna address the fact that like he was threatened at school? It was past midnight. All the news programs were talking about the video that had been uploaded to the internet that afternoon. Since there was a dead body in the video, none of the programs are actually playing it, but the newscasters all described it. It was as if they were telling people to watch the rest on the web. Yeah, basically.
となると、この報道が初耳の人間がネットに流れてくるか。
Twippo was the best place to see what people were saying at any given moment. I opened it and took a look. Where can you see the thing they're talking about on the video on TV? This is getting exciting. Like, link. I saw it, but I shouldn't have known better than to watch it this late at night. Somebody tell me a funny joke or something.
だよな。
Yeah. Whatever search or keyword related to the case, I found tons of tweets about the video in the news broadcast. The address on any page or aggregator site hosting the video was getting retweeted at an incredible rate. Wait, oh no, it's hurting my speech. We tweeted at an incredible rate. I don't want to turn into Elmer Fudd, please no. Of course, this was nothing new. Gosh darn it. That channel had already been in festival mode since the video had first been posted that evening. What is festival mode? A state of furious excitement on the internet message board or site where people are commenting en masse about a particular subject. The term comes from a similar high enthusiasm seen in the streets during an actual Japanese festival. The videos on the aggregator wiki had been quickly deleted, but someone had saved it and uploaded it to a bunch of other sites. Those sites had deleted it too, so the others had repeated the process. Yeah, that's the way it goes. After the news and the threads on that channel had gotten bigger.
回転デッドか。これが通称になりそうだな。
Revolving Dead. I guess that kind of makes sense. That has a kind of a catchiness to it. I think Twisted was a better name for it. I didn't know who first came up with the name, but more and more people on that channel were using it. It was probably a play on the revolving bed and the body had been found on. Since the body had been spinning too, the case was literally about the revolving dead. That channel, Twippo, and all the other aggregator sites and pages dealing with the case were in an uproar. I looked around and didn't see any new information. I'd seen it in person myself. I could easily tell when someone was lying or guessing.
0時過ぎ。こっちはどうだ。
There were no big updates on Shibuya news either. The top page was about the uploaded video, but it was basically just a rehash of existing information. I thought that with all the fuss, she'd be putting on a web radio broadcast. But maybe she was busy. There was nothing about the Sumo stickers or Arimura-san, which made sense, I guess. Even Kei-san wasn't psychic. Only we and the police knew about Arimura-san, and only we knew about the stickers. The Sumo stickers.
くそ。本当であれば今日中にオトモレタンの現場に力士シールがあるかどうか確認したいと思っていたのに。
You were distracted.
あなた、殺されますよ。宮代拓先輩。
Why would she say that? I couldn't get the words she'd whispered out of my head. In the end, it started raining, and I'd gone to with Itou's plan of trying to get more information about the video and learn more about Arimura-san. I hadn't made much progress with either. Of course, it surprised me that Kurusu hadn't said anything.
殺されますよってなんだよ。
The question came back to me again for the 100th time, and I still had no answer. What was she warning me about? Why had she told me I was going to be killed? Had I pissed her off somehow? No, it felt more like she was talking about someone else killing me. Then maybe it didn't matter if she hated me or not. The timing didn't make sense either. We weren't talking about anything weird, we were just talking about the case. Was she telling me that if I kept looking into this, I'd be killed? But that didn't make sense either. The police had ruled the death of the Love Hotel suicide. It was a strange way to kill yourself, sure, and after seeing it, I couldn't believe it was just a simple suicide, but did that mean that Kakita had been murdered after all? Murdered by whomever had tried to come into the room. But the police had told me it had been a mistake, and Itou had told me it couldn't prove it logically. That doesn't mean it's not still dangerous, though. That was no good. It didn't make any sense. I was going to be killed? Had I crossed some line?
殺されるぞ、宮代拓。
I tried saying it aloud and shivered a little. Was I scared or... Now he's channeling his inner Taku. Was I excited? Oh, interesting. I could feel myself starting to laugh. That was fine. This was just fine with me. If I'd crossed some line, I'd find out what it was. If that was the difference between me and those morons on the internet, I could do it. I had lots of clues. The first was Arimura Hinai herself. Gosh darn it, I can't say that name. And then the Sumo stickers. I'd only seen them in 2 different true crime scenes so far, but if I could find one at Audio Bleed too, I'd have a clue that nobody else in the world had. I should go take a look tomorrow. It's funny though, because like he says that, but like Mio, or like I think that was the name, her name that like was on her name tag, the long-haired girl with the lab coat on, like she also knows about those stickers and was in fact talking to it, assuming that it was listening. Also, she apparently was talking to Kurusu, which like that's an insane connection if that's actually a connection. Holy crap! But it's like she's wearing a lab coat. Does that mean that she's like a lab mem? If she's a lab mem, if this is post Steins Gate and the lab has expanded, that's gonna be crazy. Please, I almost hope that's real, because that would be just insane. It'd be such a cool tie-in, but I always worry it'd be too distracting. Anyway, sorry, just getting caught up in my daydreams. There was a video that had gotten uploaded to the internet. Who had uploaded it and why?
Huh?
Oh wait, right behind the curtain, there's a figure standing there, isn't there? Okay, yeah. When it was fluttering, I think it was like the shirt from whatever her name is, like the girl. Like I'll learn her name eventually. I'm terrible at like immediate like heck, it's gonna be, yeah, Hinai. Like I think that's her standing right there, possibly.
そういえば、なんでだ。こっちもか。
It was a common thing you find in videos, so I'd never really noticed until now, but I hadn't seen any comments on the internet saying anything about it either, but
なんでこんな処理してるんだ。
there was something weird at the start and end of the video. The blinking eye, the eye, like it's not like a typical iris, like a camera iris, like a collapsing like scope. It was like an eye blink on the top of the screen for less than a second, but at the start the image appeared from bottom up to top, and then at the end from top to bottom. It went black from top to bottom. Yeah, there weren't particularly unusual effects. The ones at the start were often used in TV shows and movies for a character when a character woke up, and of course it was when the camera was showing his point of view. The only one at the end was used when the character was falling asleep or just before they passed out. Sometimes you could play both at higher speed and make it look like someone was blinking. It was called a wipe. It was a method of transitioning a video from one image to the other.
Huh?
So why would they do that? Why would that be a part of this video? This video is clearly taken from the next level of the hotel, almost perfectly at eye level. From this distance and angle, that much was clear. I spent so much time looking through the camera, I knew how to judge the distance between it and the things it saw. I was sure that if I asked the rest of the newspaper club, they'd agree. But the side of the building where this video was taken was a sheer wall. I could see that for myself in the video I'd taken. The only thing I could see out the window were the wall was the sticker. The uploaded video looked like it had been taken from someone's eyes. There you go, we're kind of cluing it together. Those stickers are spying on things. Suddenly a dumb idea occurred to me. I looked at the picture of the sticker on the wall and I printed it out. Uh-oh. You put that up in your house? Nah. I shook my head and drove away. That stupid delusion. I needed to stay calm and logical. Tomorrow I could go see where the camera had probably been placed. Dude, you take that thing down right now. Take that thing off the wall. That's so dangerous. That's so dangerous. There's no way you'd actually believe it real, but fetch me. That was the most horrifying crying sound I've ever heard in my life. What the fetch is that about? Why does this person chatting have the picture? Ami-chan, I apologize for being late. Test images spread through Shibuya as expected. Continue to monitor the situation. Yes. And the target? No issue. There's no sign they know my identity. I'm close enough to kill Miyashiro Takuru at any time. The Lucas, whoever Lucas is. Chapter 2, Sumo sticker. The cases cry their name. Is that like a Higurashi reference? If you ask me, all the people in my class were ignorant children. Okay, I actually think we're going to stop here. It's the start of a new chapter. It means this video is a little shorter than I usually go, but it's such a good place to end. But what the fetch was that? So the sticker had the iris, like a camera eye, opened up. It made a crying sound that was horrifying. And now we have this Lucas and this like other like chatter in that chat room. And Lucas is saying like I could take him out at any time. So what the fetch is happening? Oh my gosh, this is getting insane. This is kind of how like Cass Head felt too. It felt like the first chapters were just so overwhelming with just information dump, mystery. And again, I worry because that Cass Head really struggled to deliver after so many promises from all the different mysteries and crazy things we were seeing. I've got more hope in this one though. This game's really much better put together, and the characters and characterizations are really well just top notch at this point. But we'll see. Anyway, my insane ramblings today hopefully had some fun for you. My gosh, there's a lot going on. Like the clear reference to a Kurusu is like kind of still blowing my mind, but maybe that's the whole point. Maybe it's meant to be a distraction. Lab coat girl is interesting, but she clearly has a lot of knowledge, and she talks to the sticker like she knows it can listen and hear. We have like our Hinai, who blatantly threatens that he's gonna die, and so she's somehow tied into whatever that chat conversation likely was. It feels like there's like multiple groups at work. So Momose and her kids, which now might involve just other kids at the school, which I'm thinking is like Team Takumi and his people working with Momose, and like maybe they're finding other gigalomaniacs and kind of like trying to like gather them in to be like members of their team. And then Hinai is part of maybe a different group or organization where it feels like she is someone that the Momose's people are saying like, hey, watch her, but she's not dangerous. And like they seem to know what she's likely capable of, but don't seem to be working alongside her. And yet she's working with a team that might be trying to eliminate or kill people who know too much, which is why she told Takuru, hey, you're gonna die. You're getting too, you know too much. And also like she had made that fair point, like said like, hey, like can you speak out loud, like confirming like there was somebody else listening but couldn't see. Like it's really important to her that they hear. So yeah, that's disturbing on another level too. And maybe that's the idea, is like, so maybe there's two teams of gigalomaniacs, like a positive team and a negative team. Positive team is the team with Momose, and they just understand delusions the best because they have some of the people who have been working with them the longest with them. Then you have this team that Hina, or whatever, Henia, or whatever, blonde girl, whatever her name is, that she's on. They might be newer to this. I don't know if they're necessarily people who are killing people, because it feels like she might have been there to try and stop what was happening, or at least try to understand what was going down. but they are willing to eliminate people. So they're kind of on this more darker, maybe vigilante type kick. And then we have the Sumo stickers people who are observing things. So their people have like some kind of way to listen in at great distance. And then the Sumo stickers have a way of observing things at a great distance. But it feels like they might be a different entity or a team altogether. And then we have like the psychopaths who are like able to trigger these type of like super delusional like killings. And then we have the company that has all the cameras up everywhere. So like, unless these are like morphed together, it feels like there's 5 different interests at play, and that's an insane number of like cabals that are happening. So I don't know. Like, there's way too much to think about and too little information to move off of. So I'm a little overwhelmed, but I wouldn't say it's a bad overwhelm. It's more of like, I'm anticipating getting some solid answers here, and I want to know like who's working with whom and what their motivations are. And I'm guessing it'll be a while before we know anything. But that's okay. So thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you don't mind my rambling and ranting and basically just self-inflicted madness at this point. But I'm having fun. Thank you for all your support, especially to the patrons and members. You're wonderful. I don't deserve you, but thank you so much for your support. And I look forward to starting Chapter 2 next week. So thank you so much for being here. And until the next video, watching me, see me in next. I'll see you there.